T65. That's the cream of the crop when it comes to Medicare business. In this industry, when you're generating leads, the customer that's seen as the gold standard is T65 business. And the reason for that is because a turning 65 customer has nothing. They have no experience, and they are coming to you having to get something. They don't have an expectation. They're not on a Medicare Advantage plan that's $0. They're not on a Medicare supplement plan that has no managed care. They have no idea what to expect for the most part. They maybe have a little bit of an idea watching a family member or a friend use their Medicare. But other than that, they have no real expectations. So you get to paint the picture for this customer on something that they have to get. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is getting this customer and capitalizing on the T65 lead that you generated. Generating T65 leads can be a little pricier than other leads. That's why some people back off of it. They don't really want to go after it. And I'm not going to jump into the marketing side of this too much. I'm going to jump into the sales side. But the reason I mention that is because on the same coin, they can be the most profitable customers that you ever sign up for, enroll, gain, whatever word you want to use, because there's so much that you can do with that customer. We can generate, and we do generate, more revenue per customer by far on our T65 campaigns that we're running. When we generate a T65 lead, we generate a ton of revenue off that customer in just year one. That's not even really factoring in the fact that we are getting revenue year 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. We're really looking at year one. We're able to make them profitable from the jump, from different ways or different strategies that we're using in our sales process. And that's what I want to talk to you about for the next few moments, how to capitalize on the T65 lead that you now have generated, how to really make that something that is super valuable and super profitable. So first thing I want to talk about is two options, right? We're talking about capitalizing on T65 leads. I want to talk about two options. When it comes to Medicare, there's two options, and everybody knows this. You know this, right? There's two options. I have Medicare supplements, and then I have Medicare Advantage plans, or MAPDs/MAs. That's what I put up here on the board. I have Medicare supplements, and I have MAPDs and MAs. And when I look at this, I think, okay, two options, that's easy enough. What blows my mind is that there's agents and there's agencies out there that they only focus on one product. They're not focusing on two products here. And that blows my mind because there's two. It's already simple enough. You don't have to make it simpler than that. And when you really break this down, going down to one product, only selling one of these is really stunning your growth by a lot. It's really stunting your growth. And the reason I say that is because I look at this and I know that there are a lot of agents and agencies selling Medicare Advantage only. And I get it. Roughly 52, 53% of Medicare beneficiaries are on a Medicare Advantage plan. And, you know, as an agent, you look at that and you go, okay, well, it pays me a lot up front in year one, and most people are on this anyway. This is the direction that I want to sell. I want to focus on this. I get that, 52, 53%. But what I'm looking at is, okay, that's 48, 47% of beneficiaries that I can't help because I'm not offering something else. Now, that's not me saying that the other 48, 47% are going to go Medicare supplement, but a good portion of those will. And you're going to be able to close a lot more business by offering both. Other side of the coin here, you don't want to be the person that only sells Medicare supplements. You want to sell both of them. If you're only selling Medicare supplements, then you're not offering the product that most Medicare beneficiaries are on at this point. And so we want to sell both of them, and that's kind of my third little bullet point here under two options is sell both. You got to diversify that a little bit. You need to sell both of these. You need to sell both products. That's the key. The rest of this is going to fall in place under that. If you want to capitalize on T65, you need to be able to present both MedSup and Medicare Advantage. When you do that, you raise your chances of closing each sale exponentially by a lot. You raise the chances by a lot because they have to go one or two options. I guess I could say it this way. They really have three options. If you think about it, they can go Medicare Supplement, Medicare Advantage, or they can go with just original Medicare, or maybe they have Medicare or like Medicaid with it or TRICARE or whatever. So there are some situations there, but they have three options. And 80%, if not more, maybe 90% of the customers that you talk to, the leads that you generate, have to go one of those two options. they're going to have to go one of those two options if they want coverage that's going to work for them. And so they're talking to you about health and coverage, about health insurance, and you're leaving so much on the table. You're leaving a bunch of runners on base by not offering the other one. If they don't want Medicare Advantage, what do? Well, you sell them MedSup. If they don't want MedSup, guess what you do? You sell Medicare Advantage. It's that simple. You need to sell both of these. Sell both of these. The next thing that I want to talk about capitalizing on is cross-selling. This is huge. This is so huge. Cross-selling is probably the number one thing that makes our T65 customers as profitable in year one as we can make it. They're not necessarily super profitable off just the Medicare Advantage or Medicare Supplement year one. Now year two, they're extremely profitable. Year three, and you see the picture there, you understand that, the residual income, that's why you're in the business. But cross-selling is really what takes this and capitalizes to that next level and generates sometimes $1,500, $2,000 extra revenue on a customer for us by offering some other products. And again, you're leaving so much on the table when you don't do this. When we're talking to T65s, we're not just selling a Medicare Advantage or a Medicare Supplement plan. We're selling lots of things. We're selling dental, vision, hearing. A lot of you out there are doing this already. Some of you aren't. You should. That's like asking, do you want fries with that? It's pretty simple. But then we're also selling a lot of cancer, heart attack, and stroke. We sell a ton of cancer, heart attack, and stroke. With T65s, it's easy breezy. We're able to do that very well. We love to sell a lot of home health care or recovery care. I'll put recovery beside it. Home health care, recovery care, something like that. We love to sell those with a T65. We do a lot of life. I should really specify final expense on that. A lot of final expense coverage for our customers. And then right here, annuities. When you have this full repertoire of products that you can go after and you can sell, you are going to generate more revenue than the agent who doesn't. The agent who's only selling Medicare Supplement or the agent who's only selling Medicare Advantage, only selling core products, they're not going to make as much as the agent who's selling all of these. And right now in our office, we are selling, I'm just going to break it down for you, the average T65 sale that we end up completing, that we end up closing, we're getting what we call a core app, which is going to be MA or MedSup, right? And actually what I'll just do is I'm just going to show you both of them, but we get a MedSup. So if I'm talking to a MedSup customer, we'll sell them that. We'll get the PDP, but we don't even count that as an app in our office, to be quite frank with you. We just do that as a service. But we are getting CHAS. We are getting dental, vision, and hearing. We are getting home health care. We are getting final expense. And sometimes we get an annuity. I'll throw that in later, right? Let's do it this way. I'm going to just show you the health insurance side first. But with the Medicare Supplement, let's say that I generate $350 there. Drug plan, we won't even throw in there. The cancer, heart attack, and stroke, that's another $450. The dental, vision, hearing, we'll call that another $250. And then the home health care, we'll call that another $300. See how much money I'm leaving on the table here? If all I'm selling is this, I make $350 on the customer. That's great, whatever. But then I have the opportunity to go in here and make another $1,000 just selling these products alone. And then oftentimes we are getting the life insurance off that customer or the final expense. That's bringing us another, we'll call it $350. Now all of a sudden I've made an extra $1,300, $1,400 on this customer. We're talking about getting close to $2,000 in revenue off one customer by doing it this way. And you're leaving so much of that on the table by not offering these other products. And boy, if I close an annuity on this person, let's say I have the conversation, I'm able to close the annuity, which you can. A lot of these people are having to retire. They're having to move those things over. If I can do that, all of a sudden, I'm going to add another 3, 4, maybe 5,000, all the way up to 20,000. I mean, it can be unlimited, but I could be adding another 3,000 or 4,000 easy on that customer. So all of a sudden, this T65 customer that I was going to make $350 on, I'm now making thousands and thousands of dollars just in year one. That's not even including what I'm going to get residually. That's how you capitalize right there. Especially if you're talking about each lead you generate $15 and you turn this into this. Man, that's crazy stuff. And then real quickly, I won't take long here, but on the MA side, Medicare Advantage side, I sell them the MAPD. We're getting a hospital indemnity plan. We get a cancer, heart attack, and stroke. Get a home health care. This is just kind of like our standard package on the health and the hospital medical, the health side. And so we're looking at $694 here. Then we're looking at hospital indemnity, we'll call it. It's going to pay us $200. No, really it'd be more like $300. And then our cancer, heart attack, and stroke is going to be another $450. And then the home health care we'll call $300 as well. So I could do $694 for just a Medicare Advantage plan, or I could do another $1,050. So I'm looking at $1,700 that I can make off of a Medicare Advantage customer by selling this package right here. See the difference? That's capitalizing. And these are things that they really need. These are things that they are needing because there's lots of gaps in their coverages. And so they need to get these things. And then, of course, if I add the life insurance and the annuities, you see what I'm saying here. I can really grow that revenue per customer significantly by offering these other products. We're talking about doing $1,700 without even selling a final expense policy. So a final expense policy, we're talking about $2,000 in revenue per customer that you close. That's how you capitalize. That's how you capitalize. Next, I want to talk about enrollment periods. So many agents are not using enrollment periods to their advantage. They're not using enrollment periods to their advantage. They think, oh, well, I got to wait until this person's an IEP. No. That's why we love selling Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement plans, because you can actually game the enrollment period a little bit and have a conversation that's going to help you close a customer right now and give them peace of mind because you've got their coverage in place as soon as you can, right? So if somebody is more than 3 months out, so plus 3 months out, I can have a conversation that leans Medicare Supplement. Now I can start closing this up to 6 months before their Part B starts, right? And that's going to help me close business earlier. That's going to help me close business right away. It gives me an avenue to go. Now, I'm not saying everybody you talk to 6 months out plus whatever, over 3 months out is going to be a Medicare Supplement customer. That's not what I'm telling you. But what I am telling you is if they are a Medicare Supplement customer and you are more than 3 months out, well, all of a sudden I'm generating revenue right now 6 months before they even turn 65. Getting money now instead of having to wait is a big deal. And that's how you capitalize on that lead that you're generating. Another way that we do this is we cross-sell early. We explain to these customers that the products that we're putting in your package are not conditioned by the enrollment period that your Medicare is. And so we want to go ahead and get those put in place, because if you get diagnosed with cancer between now and when you turn 65, you won't qualify for that anymore. Your premiums could be higher, whatever. Because there's not an enrollment period, you want to go ahead and enroll into this. And so we're able to generate revenue early. So we're not just generating more revenue by offering more products. We're generating it earlier because we're offering more products. And then we're selling these things earlier than maybe when their Part B effective date is. We're getting that started. Biggest thing here is that you need to learn Medicare. If you want to capitalize on your T65 business, on your T65 lead, you need to know Medicare. Lots of things that you need to know that are very, very niche out there. A lot of nuances you need to know. There's TRICARE, certainly something you need to look into. That is for beneficiaries who have veteran benefits, or the highest level veteran benefits, called TRICARE. You need to learn how to compare employer coverages, employer plans. You need to learn how to look at those and understand how those work so that you can compare those and get people in the right space. You need to understand what it looks like to have Medicaid and what levels. A lot of conversations you can help with there when you're talking about these things. And then you need to learn how to qualify, or we'll call it this way, uncover gaps that they're not aware of. How to do that, how to uncover the gaps that they're not aware of. There's lots of things about Medicare that you need to understand that can take you to that next level. Every situation that you learn about, every kind of situation you know how to close, gives you a whole nother just weapon to close business. And if you want to close a lot of business, you need to know how to close that business. So what you want to do is you want to go in here, you want to make sure you have the contracts that you need to sell these. And I'm not talking about having just a few MedSup or Medicare Advantage carriers. Get all of them. Get the carriers you don't have. Make sure you have the big ones. Make sure you have the lower priced ones, the smaller ones, whatever. Make sure you have a lot of options when it comes to MedSup and Medicare Advantage so you can sell these things. Go get some contracts for these products right here: dental, vision, hearing, cancer, home health care, life, final expense, annuities. Get your contracts. Learn how to close that business so that you can generate more revenue. Learn Medicare so that you can close more business. If you will do all these things, you will capitalize on the T65 market. Now, let me give you a fair warning. T65 is a pipeline. It's a pipeline. It takes time. It takes time. It's not something you're going to turn around and start selling that tomorrow and making it happen. You do have to be patient. You got to put these people in the pipeline and start closing them. But if you will do your due diligence and you will follow these 4 pieces of advice I've given you, and you will work that pipeline, you will dominate this industry and you will capitalize on T65 leads. And you're going to look back 2 or 3 years from now and go, holy smokes, this was the cream of the crop. And I am glad I listened and became a great Brock partner.